Hi guys, a big problem with politics is that you can do a lot of things, make correct decisions, and even say the right words, but still fail. A caller named Ian phoned the Iain Dale show, where he listed off some of the positives Keir Starmer and the Labour government have achieved. Now, while he isn't right on all of them, most of what he says here is in some way correct. What the government inherited from the Tories was mentioned here, along with what many see as problematic policies. And while Ian, the caller, is clearly a Labour supporter, he's sort of missing the bigger point.
I would say to Keir Starmer, just keep doing what you're doing. You're fixing the foundations. There's 14 years that it's got to be sorted out, and you started off well. Keep going, and don't worry. We knew it was going to be difficult with the right-wing press. We knew that you'd have people like Farage chipping from the sidelines constantly. Do what you're doing. Get this country fixed. Get it back on its feet.
What's he done particularly that you think he's done well?
I like the fact that millionaire landowners should be paying inheritance tax. The bit I don't like about it is I think it should be 40% rather than 20%.
So you don't think he's done well on that then, really?
No, I do think he's done well. They'll be paying 20. I think he could have gone further, or Rachel Reeves could have gone further. It should have been 40. We've then got people like Jeremy Clarkson and Nigel Farage who have come out, and they're just stirring the pot. And we know that it's going to be a tiny, tiny amount of people that are actually going to be paying this, and it's all been blown up out of proportion by the right-wing media. But this is the same about Louise Haigh. We've got the same about the winter fuel allowance. Everything's a big drama when really it shouldn't be. Look at the state that the Tories have left us in. Look at the scandals that they created. And, there's none of that. The Louise Haigh debacle was nipped in the bud as soon as it happened. That's decisive. That's good leadership. And that's what we want. We need the country back on its feet because we're broken at the moment. And it's people like Farage who have broken, who's helped to break Britain. And he tried to break it in August. Those Farage rights were his responsibility. We know that. He wound the country up, and he's going to continue doing it. And what the Labour Party need to do and Keir Starmer, is to keep on the road that of rebuilding the country, fixing the foundations.
Okay, so there are a few things to say about this. Look, the one way of approaching the problem is to just double down. And this is what Ian the caller seems to be suggesting. Look, ignore the right-wing press. They're blowing things out of all proportion. Ignore Farage. Ignore the Conservatives. Continue down this road of rebuilding Britain. Now, that may work, but there are massive problems with that. You see, the Labour Party have a massive majority at the moment. So Keir Starmer can get pretty much any policy he wants through Parliament. But there's already a bit of a rumbling taking place within the Labour Party over policies like the winter fuel allowance. Now, I've said before, this policy doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't make political sense. I really think they should U-turn on it. They may lose face amongst political parties, but I think they'll win back some support from the public if they do that. So there would be a cost, but it would be a price worth paying, along with the WASPy women, the compensation that was refused to them. So, there's a cost, maybe an economic cost, a political cost in the short term, but it would benefit the government in the long term. You would rebuild trust because you need the trust of the public if you want them to vote for you, along with improving the lives of ordinary people. Now, improving the lives of ordinary people is going to take time. The Conservatives have left an absolute disaster behind. Public services underfunded, understaffed, crumbling literally in some cases. But it keeps coming back to this point. Are you improving people's lives? Do people feel better off? Because as he has a massive majority, Keir Starmer, that majority is pretty thin in the sense that many MPs are sitting on very slight majorities, hundreds of votes in some cases. And those MPs are starting to feel the heat from their constituents. Why are you supporting this policy? Why aren't you stopping this policy? Don't you care about the elderly? Don't you care about pensioners? So these MPs have to, on the one side, defend the party line, but probably come up with some pretty terrible excuses that they know are terrible excuses for sticking to that party line. We're talking about people who obviously don't agree with the winter fuel allowance change, but have been told you have to support it because it's now a party policy. And, a lot of these MPs are rookies, they're new, and maybe they don't have the political savviness to sell this to their constituents. And they're looking over their shoulder constantly, okay, if there's a by-election coming up, will I be able to hold on to my seat? Will I be able to fight my seat if I have to fight it? If they start to see colleagues lose their seats, they're going to get worried, and they're going to either refuse to back policies or they'll try and steer the party in a different direction. And that's going to be a problem for Keir Starmer. So while he has a massive majority, he will be able to face down many rebellions. If a significant number of MPs start to feel the heat, they could decide, well, actually, we'll support the policies, we'll support the government, but we won't support the Prime Minister, and they may call for his head. He will become the scapegoat. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.